HOA Karen Files fam. Buckle up for a wild ride straight out of Maple Grove, Arizona. A story so intense it'll have you cheering, raging, and maybe even grabbing your own stick to fight back. Picture this: a 9-year-old kid, just drawing a rocket ship with chalk, gets his wrist twisted by fake HOA thugs claiming to enforce the rules. Sounds like a nightmare, right? But hold up. His grandpa, a 73-year-old Marine with a carved oak stick and zero patience for nonsense, steps in and delivers justice so epic it was caught on camera. This isn't just a story, it's a movement, and it's blowing up online. Stick around to see how one neighborhood took down a scam and turned a kid's drawing into a symbol of defiance. If you love seeing Karens and fake enforcers get what's coming, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and join the HOA Karen Files crew for more jaw-dropping battles. Let's dive in. Maple Grove, Arizona, is the kind of place where time seems to slow down. Nestled on the edge of Phoenix's sprawling suburbs, it's a patchwork of 1970s ranch homes, cracked sidewalks, and front yards bursting with desert blooms. The air smells of creosote and fresh-cut grass, and every morning, the neighborhood hums with life. Kids zooming on scooters, retirees sipping coffee on porches, and dogs barking at passing mail trucks. It's not fancy, but it's home, and for the Carter family, it's their sanctuary. Sarah Carter, 34, is the heart of the household. A single mom and ER nurse, she's got the kind of grit that comes from working double shifts and raising a kid on her own. Her son, Liam, 9, is her world, a skinny kid with a wild imagination and a knack for drawing. Every weekend, Liam's out on the sidewalk in front of their faded yellow house, sketching with chalk. Today, he's working on his masterpiece, a neon yellow rocket ship blasting through a galaxy of pink and green stars, complete with a tiny astronaut waving from the cockpit. "This one's gonna save the universe, Mom," he calls, his voice echoing down the quiet street. Sarah watches from the porch, her iced tea sweating in the June heat. She's tired. Last night's shift was brutal, but seeing Liam so happy makes it worth it. The family's golden retriever, Rusty, sprawls beside her, snoring softly. In the garage, Sarah's dad, Frank Carter, tinkers with an old ham radio. At 73, Frank's a retired Marine with a square jaw and eyes that miss nothing. He served in Vietnam, running recon missions and interrogations. And though he doesn't talk much about it, the scars on his knuckles tell stories. These days, he's content teaching Liam how to carve wood or swapping war stories with neighbors over beers. "Kid's got an artist's soul," Frank often says, pinning Liam's sketches to the fridge. But Maple Grove has its tensions. A new gated community, Silver Pines, sprang up a mile away, complete with a homeowners association, HOA, run by Karen Whitaker, a 50-something former realtor with a bleach blonde bob and a vendetta against unsightly neighborhoods. Karen's been pushing to annex older areas like Maple Grove into Silver Pines jurisdiction, claiming it'll elevate property values. Most residents scoff. Maple Grove isn't part of her HOA, and her notices about lawn height or mailbox colors go straight to the trash. Still, Karen's persistence is grating, and rumors swirl about her hiring consultants to enforce her rules. This morning, as Liam adds a green alien to his rocket ship, the street feels peaceful. Neighbors wave. Mrs. Dolores Thompson, a 68-year-old widow, waters her cactus garden across the street, her phone always ready to record gossip. Mr. Javier Garcia, a mechanic, polishes his vintage Mustang, while Jenny Lopez, a young mom, pushes her toddler, Mia, in a stroller. It's the kind of day you wish could last forever, but in Maple Grove, trouble has a way of sneaking in. Around 10 a.m., a black SUV creeps down the street. It's not a neighbor's car. It's too sleek, with tinted windows and no visible plates. Sarah notices it first, her nurse's instincts kicking in. The SUV stops in front of their house, engine idling like a predator. Two men step out, both in dark uniforms labeled Community Standards Patrol. The older one, broad-shouldered with a buzz cut and a face like weathered leather, carries a clipboard. The younger, lean with a snake tattoo curling up his neck, has a radio clipped to his belt, crackling with static. They don't smile, don't wave, just stare at Liam's chalk drawing like it's a felony. "Who's responsible for this mess?" The buzzcut man barks, pointing at the rocket ship. Liam freezes, chalk in hand, his eyes wide. It's just a drawing, he says, voice barely a whisper. Sarah steps off the porch, her tea forgotten. He's my son. It's washable chalk. What's the issue? The tattooed man steps closer, his boots scuffing Liam's stars. Defacing public property. Silver Pines Code 14B. You owe a $500 fine, cash or card, right now. Sarah's heart races. We're not in Silver Pines. This is Maple Grove, and that's our sidewalk. The buzzcut man doesn't blink. We're authorized to enforce standards countywide. Pay up, or we'll seize your property. Liam, clutching his chalk, looks up at his mom. Did I do something bad? Sarah kneels beside him, forcing a smile. No, honey, you're fine. But her hands tremble. She's dealt with bullies before, but these guys feel different, dangerous. Mrs. Thompson, ever the neighborhood watchdog, starts recording from her porch, her phone hidden behind a cactus. Javier pauses his polishing, his wrench still in hand, while Ginny pulls out her phone, whispering to Mia to stay quiet. The street tenses like a coiled spring. Then, a silver Lexus pulls up, and out steps Karen Whitaker. Her blazer is crisp, her smile all teeth, but her eyes are cold as steel. Sarah, I warned you about these violations, she says, her voice syrupy with fake concern. I sent notices, 3, in fact, but you ignored them. Sarah's jaw drops. Notices? We never got anything. And you have no authority here. Karen's smile tightens. Silver Pines is expanding oversight to keep Maple Grove from dragging down our values. Your son's graffiti is a blight. Sarah stands, shielding Liam. It's chalk, Karen. He's a kid. The buzzcut man interrupts, his clipboard raised. Pay the fine, or we take the kid for questioning. Sarah's blood runs cold. Questioning? He's 9. The tattooed man grabs Liam's wrist, twisting it hard. Liam yelps, dropping his chalk, his face contorting in pain. Sarah lunges, but the buzzcut man blocks her, shoving her back with enough force to make her stumble. A sickening pop cuts through the air. Liam's wrist bends unnaturally, and he screams, collapsing to the sidewalk. Sarah drops to her knees, pulling him close, her voice breaking. You hurt my son. Call an ambulance. The men don't move. Official business, the buzzcut man says, his voice flat. Karen watches, arms crossed, a flicker of triumph in her eyes. Mrs. Thompson's video captures it all, the grab, the twist, the scream. Javier shouts, let the kid go. Jenny's on the phone with 911, her voice shaking. The neighborhood watches, frozen, as Liam sobs in Sarah's arms. But in the garage, Frank Carter hears the scream. He sets down his radio, his hands steady despite the fire in his chest. He grabs his oak walking stick, carved with a Marine Corps emblem, its weight a familiar comfort. Frank's seen worse. Jungles, ambushes, men who thought power came from a uniform. These two. They're imposters, and he knows it. He steps onto the porch, his shadow stretching across the lawn, and the air shifts. Maple Grove is about to witness a reckoning. Frank Carter doesn't rush. At 73, he's learned that speed isn't power, control is. His boots hit the porch with a deliberate thud, his oak stick tapping the ground like a metronome. His eyes, sharp as a hawk's, lock onto the scene. Liam sobbing, his wrists swollen, Sarah on her knees, tears streaming. 2 men in fake uniforms looming, and Karen Whitaker, standing like a queen watching her knights. The neighborhood holds its breath. Mrs. Thompson's phone is rolling, Javier's grip tightens on his wrench, and Ginny whispers to the 911 operator. Let go of my grandson, Frank says, his voice low, each word carved from granite. The tattooed man, still holding Liam's wrist, laughs. Back off, old man. This is official. Frank's eyes don't waver. 5 seconds. Karen scoffs, stepping forward, her heels clicking. Frank, don't be foolish. They're authorized by Silver Pines. You're interfering with compliance. Frank ignores her, his gaze fixed on the men. 3 seconds. Sarah looks up, her tears pausing as she sees her father's stance. Feet planted, shoulders square, like the photos from his Marine days. She's heard his stories, the ones he tells late at night when Liam's asleep. Recon missions in Da Nang, interrogations where silence was his weapon. But this is different. This is home, and Liam's hurt. Her heart pounds, caught between fear and hope. The buzzcut man raises his clipboard, his voice booming. You're obstructing justice. Step back, or we'll. Frank cuts him off, his stick rising an inch. 1 second. The tattooed man shoves Liam towards Sarah, who catches him, cradling his injured wrist. You're done. The man spits, reaching for his radio, or maybe something else. He never gets the chance. Frank moves like a ghost. His stick whips through the air, cracking against the tattooed man's knee with a sound that echoes down the street. The man collapses, howling, clutching his leg. The buzz-cut man lunges, his clipboard swinging, but Frank's ready. A sidestep, a pivot, and the stick strikes again, this time across the man's shin. He hits the ground hard, his clipboard skittering across the pavement. It's over in seconds. No yelling, no chaos, just precision. Frank stands over them, his stick resting lightly on the ground. Stay down. You're on camera. Mrs. Thompson cheers, her video streaming to her 500 Facebook followers. Got you punks, she yells, zooming in. Javier steps closer, wrench raised, ready to back Frank up. Jenny's 911 call connects, and sirens wail in the distance. Karen shrieks, "This is assault. I'll sue you all." But her voice falters as neighbors close in, phones flashing. Sarah holds Liam tight, whispering, "It's okay, baby, Grandpa's here." Frank kneels beside Liam, his voice soft. "You okay, buddy?" Liam, tear-streaked, nods, his good hand clutching Frank's sleeve. "It hurts, Grandpa." Frank's jaw tightens, but his touch is gentle. "I know. We're gonna fix it." He stands, his eyes scanning the men on the ground, then Karen, who's backing toward her Lexus. "Don't move," he says, and she freezes. The first police cruiser screeches to a halt, followed by a second. Officer Maria Daniels, a Maple Grove native with a no-nonsense demeanor, steps out, her partner, Officer Patel, close behind. They take in the scene. A crying boy, 2 men groaning, Frank standing like a sentinel, and Karen stammering excuses. "Who called this in?" Daniels asks. Jenny raises her hand, phone still recording. "I did. They hurt that kid." Daniels watches Mrs. Thompson's video, her face hardening as she sees the tattooed man twist Liam's wrist. Patel inspects the men's IDs, his brow furrowing. These are fake. No badge numbers, no county seal. He turns to the buzz-cut man, who's clutching his knee. "Who are you working for?" The man mutters, "Silver Pines, just contractors." Karen jumps in, her voice shrill. "They're my consultants." This is a misunderstanding, but the neighbors aren't buying it. Javier steps forward, his phone out. "I've got video from last month. Same SUV, same guys, shaking down my aunt for a fence violation. They wanted $300 cash." Jenny adds, "They told my mom she'd lose her house over a cracked driveway. Said it was code enforcement." Mr. Lee, a retired teacher, chimes in from his porch. "They fined me $200 for my flagpole being too tall. I paid because I was scared." The crowd grows, voices rising. Daniels turns to Karen. "You're coming downtown for questioning." Karen's face pales, but she's led to a cruiser, her protests drowned by cheers. Paramedics arrive, wrapping Liam's wrist, 2 sprained ligaments, painful but not broken. Sarah holds him, her nurse's training keeping her calm, but her eyes are wet. "He's gonna be okay," the EMT says, but Sarah's not listening. She's watching Frank, who's still standing guard, his stick ready. As the fake enforcers are cuffed, the truth starts to unravel. The SUV's plates are stolen, and a search reveals fake documents in the glove box. Phony Silver Pines letterheads, forged county seals. Daniels radios for backup, suspecting a larger scam. The neighbors, galvanized, start sharing stories. Fines for unapproved mailboxes, threats over garden gnomes, even a fake lien on a widow's home. Karen's oversight was a front, a scheme to extort cash from Maple Grove's trusting residents. Frank doesn't say much, but his presence looms. When Patel asks him to recount the incident, he's brief. "They hurt my grandson. I stopped them." Patel nods, a flicker of respect in his eyes. Mrs. Thompson's video is already spreading, shared to a local Facebook group, then picked up by a Phoenix News affiliate. By noon, it's at 5,000 views, with comments flooding in. "Grandpa's a legend. Take down those HOA scammers." A TikTok edit of Frank's stick strike, set to epic music, goes viral. Sarah watches the paramedics load Liam into an ambulance for x-rays, her heart heavy but proud. Frank climbs in with them, his stick across his lap. As the ambulance pulls away, Mrs. Thompson yells, "We got your back, Frank." The neighborhood feels alive, awake, ready to fight. But this is just the beginning. Karen's scheme runs deeper, and Maple Grove is about to uncover a conspiracy that'll shake the suburbs to their core. Back at Maple Grove, the afternoon sun beats down, but the neighborhood is buzzing. News vans park at the corner, reporters adjusting mics as neighbors spill onto lawns, phones out, swapping stories. Mrs. Thompson's video hits 20,000 views, shared across Arizona Facebook groups, and tweeted by a local influencer with 50,000 followers. TikTok's flooded with remixes. Frank's stick strike synced to Sweet Caroline. Liam's rocket ship animated as a superhero logo. The hashtag Sidewalk Guardian trends locally, and a meme of Frank with "Don't mess with Grandpa" caption spreads like wildfire. Sarah and Liam are at the hospital, where X-rays confirm no fractures, just severe sprains. Liam's wrist is in a brace, and he's groggy from pain meds, but he manages a smile when Sarah shows him the TikTok edits. "Grandpa's famous," he whispers. Frank sits beside him, his stick leaning against the wall, his face unreadable. Sarah touches his arm. "Dad, you saved him." Frank shrugs. "Just did what I had to." But his eyes are distant, replaying the moment Liam screamed. At the police station, Officer Daniels grills Karen Whitaker, who's sweating through her blazer. "I'm a victim here," she insists. "Those men were contractors. I had no idea they were fake." But the evidence piles up. Forged documents, a burner phone with texts coordinating enforcement runs, and bank records showing thousands in cash deposits from fines. The buzz-cut man, revealed as Carl Dugan, a lowlife with a rap sheet for fraud, cracks under pressure. "Karen hired us," he admits. "Said Maple Grove was easy pickings. Old folks, single moms, no one fight back." The tattooed man, Eddie Voss, stays quiet, but his phone yields a goldmine. Photos of other neighborhoods, fake IDs for multiple patrols, and a group chat with Karen and two others, dubbed the Pines Syndicate. Daniels realizes this isn't just a local scam. It's a network targeting suburbs across Arizona, preying on fear and confusion. Maple Grove was just their latest hit. Back in the neighborhood, the residents rally. Javier organizes a meeting at his garage, where 20 neighbors crowd in, sharing stories. Mrs. Thompson plays her video on a loop, her voice cracking as she recounts Liam's scream. Mr. Lee reveals he paid $500 to avoid a fake eviction notice. Jenny's mom, Mrs. Lopez, admits she handed over $300 for a driveway violation after threats of foreclosure. The anger is palpable, but so is the resolve. "We're not victims," Javier says, pounding his wrench. "We're Maple Grove." The meeting sparks action. Jenny starts a WhatsApp group to coordinate neighbor watch shifts, ensuring no strange SUVs go unnoticed. Mr. Lee drafts a petition to the county, demanding oversight of HOAs like Silver Pines. Mrs. Thompson, dubbed Maple Grove Spielberg, uploads more footage, clips from Javier's and Jenny's phones, showing different angles of the attack. Her latest post, captioned #Sidewalk Guardian, "We fight back," hits 50,000 views by evening, shared by a national news outlet. At the hospital, Sarah gets a call from Daniels. "We're building a case, but we need statements from you and Frank." Sarah agrees, but her focus is Liam, who's doodling a new rocket ship on his brace. Frank overhears and pulls out a pocket knife, carving a tiny marine emblem into the brace. "For courage," he says. Liam beams, but Sarah sees the weight in her father's eyes. This isn't just about Liam. It's about every family Karen's syndicate hurt. That night, Maple Grove lights up with activity. Kids draw rocket ships on sidewalks, inspired by Liam's art. A local artist, Mia's uncle, creates a digital mural, Liam's rocket ship soaring over Maple Grove, with Frank's silhouette holding a stick, captioned "Justice Flies Hard." It's printed on T-shirts, sold to raise funds for Liam's medical bills. The news vans linger, interviewing neighbors. A reporter catches Javier. "Frank's not just a grandpa. He's our guardian." The soundbite airs on CNN, pushing #Sidewalk Guardian nationwide. But trouble brews. Karen, released on bail, posts a defiant video on her Silver Pines website, claiming she's fighting for community standards and accusing Frank of vigilante violence. Her followers, mostly Silver Pines residents, flood Maple Grove's social media with hate, calling Frank a thug and Liam a delinquent. The harassment escalates, Sarah's car is egged, and Mrs. Thompson gets a threatening voicemail. The neighborhood feels under siege, but Frank's not fazed. "Let him come," he says, sharpening his carving knife. Maple Grove's ready for war. The next morning, Maple Grove wakes to a new reality. Karen's smear campaign has backfired. Her video racks up dislikes, and comments flood with #SidewalkGuardian support. "You hurt a kid over chalk? Sit down." Karen, one reads, with 10,000 likes. The national spotlight grows. Good Morning America runs a segment on the Sidewalk Guardian, featuring Mrs. Thompson's footage and an interview with Sarah, who holds up Liam's brace, the carved emblem gleaming. "My dad didn't start this fight," she says, "but he ended it." Liam's released from the hospital, his brace a badge of honor. Kids at school swarm him, asking to sign it. He draws a rocket ship, adding Grandpa's Justice in blue marker. Frank walks him home, stick in hand, ignoring the news vans. When a reporter shoves a mic in his face, he grunts. "Talk to the neighbors. They're the story." But the neighbors point back to Frank, their hero. The police investigation deepens. Daniels uncovers a paper trail linking Karen's syndicate to scams in Tucson and Flagstaff. Carl and Eddie, facing felony charges, assault on a minor, impersonation, extortion, turn on each other, spilling names. A third player, a shady lawyer named Victor Klein, emerges as the syndicate's mastermind, using Silver Pines as a front to launder cash. Klein's office is raided, yielding laptops with spreadsheets of fines collected from dozens of neighborhoods. The DA announces a task force, and Maple Grove becomes ground zero for a statewide crackdown. The neighbors double down. Javier's watch group patrols nightly, armed with flashlights and phones. Mrs. Thompson's footage inspires a Maple Grove media crew, with teens editing clips into viral montages. One, set to Eye of the Tiger, shows Frank's takedown in slow motion, hitting 1 million views on YouTube. Jenny's WhatsApp group grows to 100 members, sharing tips on spotting fake enforcers. Check for badges, demand warrants, record everything. Karen's not done. She hires a PR firm, spinning herself as a reformer targeted by violent locals. Her team doxes Mrs. Thompson, leaking her address online. Trolls vandalize her cactus garden, but the neighborhood rallies. Javier fixes her fence. Jenny's mom brings tamales, and Liam draws a rocket ship on her sidewalk, signed, "From your Sidewalk Guardian." Mrs. Thompson, undeterred, posts a new video. "Karen, you messed with the wrong street." It hits 100,000 views, and donations pour in to replace her plants. Frank, Sarah, and Liam attend a town hall, where the county unveils plans to regulate HOAs. Residents share horror stories, fake fines, forged liens, threats of eviction. Frank speaks last, his voice steady. "I fought for this country. I'll fight for my family. Maple Grove's not just houses, it's people. And we protect our own." The room erupts in applause, and Liam, brace and all, waves his rocket ship sketch. The town hall sparks a movement. Kids across Arizona draw rocket ships, dubbed Liam's Justice, on sidewalks. Veterans groups send Frank letters, one calling him a Marine's Marine. A local brewery names a beer Sidewalk Guardian IPA, donating proceeds to anti-scam charities. The t-shirt mural sells out, and Mia's uncle paints a real mural on Javier's garage. Frank and Liam, rocket ship soaring, with Maple Grove stands tall. But the syndicate fights back. Klein, out on bail, sends new enforcers to intimidate witnesses. A strange SUV circles Maple Grove, and Sarah finds a note on her door. "Drop the charges, or the kid pays." Frank doesn't flinch. He sets up a security camera, teaches Liam self-defense moves, and keeps his stick close. The neighborhood tightens ranks, ready for the next battle. Karen's trial looms, and Maple Grove's story is far from over. A month later, Maple Grove is transformed. The sidewalks are a riot of color, rocket ships, stars, and Grandpa's Justice scrawled by kids inspired by Liam. The watch group is a well-oiled machine, with Javier leading patrols and Mrs. Thompson's media crew posting daily updates. The mural on Javier's garage is a local landmark, photographed by tourists. The brewery's IPA is a hit, and t-shirt sales fund a legal aid program for scam victims. Karen's trial begins, a media circus. Prosecutors present Mrs. Thompson's videos, Javier's footage, and bank records tying Karen to Klein's syndicate. Carl and Eddie testify, detailing how Karen recruited them to scare Maple Grove into compliance. Klein, facing RICO charges, pleads not guilty, but his laptops seal his fate. 50 neighborhoods scammed, $2 million stolen. Karen's defense, claiming she was misled by Klein, crumbles when Sarah testifies, holding up Liam's brace. They hurt my son over chalk, she says, her voice breaking. The jury's faces say it all. Frank takes the stand, his stick on the table like evidence. I saw my grandson in pain, he says. I acted. I'd do it again. The prosecutor plays Mrs. Thompson's video, the courtroom silent as Frank's stick strikes. A juror wipes a tear. Karen's convicted, conspiracy, assault, extortion, facing 7 years. Klein gets 15. Carl and Eddie take plea deals, spilling more names. The syndicate collapses, and Arizona passes Liam's law, mandating HOA transparency. Maple Grove celebrates. The neighborhood hosts a chalk art festival, families flooding the streets with rocket ships and tributes to Frank. Liam, brace off, kneels with Sarah and Frank, redrawing his rocket ship, now with a shield labeled Maple Grove Guardians. The crowd cheers, phones snapping. The mayor seals the drawing in resin, declaring it a city landmark. This is your victory, he tells the residents. Frank declines hero status, but accepts a brass plaque from the veterans group, screwed to his porch, home of the Sidewalk Guardian. Sarah starts a blog, Maple Grove Fights, sharing anti-scam tips, guest posting for HOA Karen files. Liam's rocket ship goes global. Kids in Texas, Florida, even London draw versions, hashtagging #Sidewalk Guardian. The brewery donates $10,000 to Liam's college fund, and Mia's uncle's mural graces and national anti-fraud campaign. But the scars remain. Liam wakes from nightmares, clutching his wrist. Sarah checks the security camera nightly. Frank sharpens his knife, ever watchful. One evening, as they sit on the porch, Liam hands Frank a new drawing. A rocket ship with a stick-wielding grandpa, soaring over Maple Grove. For you, he says. Frank hangs it above his workbench, a quiet vow to keep fighting. Maple Grove's story spreads, CNN, BBC, even a Netflix docuseries pitch. The neighborhood's not just a place now, it's a symbol. When fake authority comes knocking, Maple Grove answers, not with fear, but with sticks, cameras, and a kid's chalk. Justice flies hard, and the Sidewalk Guardian's legacy lives on. Wow, what a story. From a kid's chalk drawing to a neighborhood uprising, Maple Grove showed the world what happens when you mess with the wrong grandpa. Frank, Liam, and Sarah aren't just heroes. They're proof that we can all fight back against Karens and scammers. Here at HOA Karen Files, we're all about exposing HOA drama, fake enforcers, and the people who stand up to them. Want more epic takedowns like this? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a battle. Drop a comment. Tell us your craziest HOA story or who you'd want as your Sidewalk Guardian. Share this video with your crew, and let's keep the #Sidewalk Guardian movement growing. Until next time, stay vigilant and keep those sidewalks colorful. Peace out, HOA Karen Files fam.